This video is for the Range Rover HSE LUX with the variable suspension where you can select the different grades. You'll have this kind of knob in here. And so I had a air suspension leak in the front. I checked the block on the passenger side. There's no leaks there. Was able to determine it was actually the air spring inside here. So instead of ordering the whole strut, we ordered these. Installed okay. You will need an impact gun to get this nut off the top here. That nut right there was a little bit rusted on mine, so you will need an impact gun to get that off. The suspension leak I was fixing would take about a week or two before the front end was sitting on the ground. So it wasn't a terrible leak, but it was enough to know I had a leak somewhere. It was those airbags that were cracked. So after I replaced them with these and followed the instructions, it went to a leak where about sitting for a day and it was back on the ground. So I knew I had a leak somewhere. We did the soapy water spray up here on top. At first I did have some bubbling in here around the nut. I was able to use an impact gun to get that down a little bit tighter. So now I have no leak here or on the other side in that location. However, as you know, if you've done this, in order to check that fitting way up there, you can do it just by jacking the car up. And you should be able to spray some soapy water up there without having to take off this wheel flange or anything else, and keep the system pressurized. That way you know if you have a leak there, you can spray your soapy water up there. And the other spot where I actually found my leak was right here. So this is where the air spring, you can see the whole picture, the air spring comes down and then sits on top of the strut. And when you rebuild this, you're going to put in some plastic grommets and also some rubber grommets. And they say that you may need to use a silicone lubricant to clean it. A mechanic friend of mine said to go ahead and use a silicone lubricant no matter what, and to douse those rings, which set right in here, with a lubricant so they'll seal properly. Because when I was spraying the soapy water up under here, and you really do have to saturate it, you would start to see bubbles build up here, and then they would just start to grow. So I already did the other side. I'm just going to do this side too, and hopefully that fixes the problem. But for any of you guys who have rebuilt these air springs and are still having issues, give that a shot and see if that fixes your problem. Because I didn't have leaks anywhere else, but both sides were leaking under here. So you can also depressurize the system by releasing those hoses on the air block on the passenger side. You can take a look at that. Just by taking this flange down here, you'll have access right here to this distribution block, for lack of a better term, and you'll be able to depressurize it one side at a time. Because what you're going to want to do, instead of having to rebuild the whole air spring and take it off, is you can just take off your little retention clip that was right here. You can just knock that down. Once you've depressurized this air spring, you can just knock this up with a soft mallet and then push it up, and you'll expose that set of rings that you put in when you rebuilt it. You can lubricate those really good, pull it back down, seat it on top of those rings, and then repressurize the system, and then go back and double check for leaks. Hope this helps somebody and save some time.